You know, I'm sitting down to do a third saving saves video, and I'm finding it difficult to top the drip I had in that initial video. I think that's the phrase that kids are using on TikTok. So let me see what I got. Hold on. Oh, yeah. I'm excited for this. We've had the Hammers, who are the subscribers to my Twitch channel, have submitted their saves. We're locked and load, ready to go. A couple of different types of saves that we're going to be hitting today. But if you want to have drip like this, check out the High Score Tees website that's always linked in the description. There is a current St. Patrick's Day limited edition set of clothing, including an I Heart Zealand with a Clover sweatpants. I only own 12 pairs of them. Is that healthy? Yes. The first one comes from Not Legit 38, managing Eintracht Frankfurt. Not Legit 38. First of all, welcome to the Hammers. I think it's the first time I'm saving your save. Welcome to an elite online gaming community. Just moved from 1860 Munich after getting them to the Bundes. Love that. Can I always call it the Bundes now? Looked for a good medium-sized team to get to the Champions League and consistent top 6 finishes before I moved on to a massive club. Like PSG, Man United, Barca, etc. Not sure how to take the next step as a medium-sized club in that awkward spot of having good money to spend. 50 to 90 million is a lot more than good money to spend. But not being able to pull the best of the best players and having to find the 175 potential wonder kids being the scouting network. Overall, just need help taking that next step. I think the most common thing I run into on saving saves is this right here. If you learn how to work the different levers of the game, you're able to create a team that's consistently good, where in this case, a team that's not consistently good. This is essentially a waste of $90 million. How on earth are you in 14th?
You are wasting $90 million.
What are you doing? Not legit. What's the thought process here? You have $92 million. You're in January, which means you went through the summer with $92 million. Unless you just got this from your transfer history, I'm going to be shocked. You just sold a dude for $34 million. Do you have 100% retention? Because that means you well, okay. You were like 58. You have 90% retention. So you were like $62, $63 million. I am not saying here, I need to collect myself. I am not saying you should always spend money if you have it. But if your complaint is that you just don't know where to spend it, you're in 14th. This is not a great spot to be in. You got that other team up to the Bundesliga. You get the job at Eintracht Frankfurt. You end up in the season preview. You're projected to finish 10th. You're batting below where you're supposed to be, and you're not spending any money. You're selling people. That's not how this works. Let me check your database. You said you were having problems scouting. Your database is huge. You have under 14,000 players. You should have absolutely no problem finding players in particular areas. Like West Africa, North Africa, there's always that one person that's like, excuse me, if I don't have West African and North African leagues loaded, will I still be able to scout players from that area? Yes. For all time. Yes. Why are you looking for squad players in Africa? You do realize that there's no actually good league in Africa. I know there's some leagues that are okay, right? Like the Egyptian league's fine, the South African league's fine, whatever. There's no actually good league in Africa. You're in the Bundesliga. You're not going to find any squad level. Like, you are looking for a squad player here. Why? You want to be looking just this. Desired attributes. Age, I'm assuming, is set to young and scouted potential ability. Get rid of the squad player. You're not finding anybody because they're scouting for a squad level player. Scouting a lot of Africa is one thing. Scouting a lot of Africa for squad players is a whole other thing that's not good. You have no scouts in Western South America. This is where a lot of cheap wonder kids come from. Peru, Colombia, Ecuador. These are countries that when you combine them together with Chile, obviously capable of producing talented players, you're just completely missing out on a pool there. The scouting around Europe in general can bother me. You've got no Eastern Europe, you've got no Scandinavia, but you're locked in on Italy. Where are you going to find cheap players in Italy? Where are you going to find cheap players in England? Literally nowhere. There isn't a single cheap player in England. I'm worth $300,000 in England right now. My market value on Transfermarkt when I walk into a pub in London goes up by 400%. You're not finding the high potential wonder kids because you're not casting a big enough net. You have your Africa Scout, Eastern Europe, Scandinavia, both South Americas. I mean, places where wonder kids come from that you can afford in bunches. If you want to buy a wonder kid from Italy, like a legit one you can win the Champions League with and you know it when they're 18, you're going to need to spend, if you're lucky, 25. If you're not, 40, 50 million dollars. If they're in Colombia, they cost 5. If they're in Peru, they cost even less than that. I've signed them for under $1 million. If they're in North and West Africa, same. If they're in Eastern Europe, very unlikely you're getting over 15 million to pay for them. And in Scandinavia, it's very likely you're less than 10 million in order to buy the same player. This is all back to the scouting video I've made before, but this is just why you're not able to take the next step. It's what we call, and everybody say it together. You've heard me say this a million times, and we will repeat it until everybody knows. We call it wiring the world. On to the next one. This one is from Yosadahan, who's managing Kukariki. You have to say it like that every time or it doesn't count. For what I'd... Shut up. Save is going well so far. I've managed to be league leaders in year 2 somehow, but I really lack money to improve the team and don't think I'll be able to keep my best players. Georgi Ivanovic, Georgi Petrovic. Well, they really got creative with the names. Kukariki is a top team now in Serbia. Cool. You're ahead of Red Star. You're ahead of Partizan. You're living the good life. Georgi Ivanovic wants to leave. I'm gonna lay the knowledge on you. This dude sucks. Get it out of your system now. And no, I don't want to meet this guy in real life. He could probably beat me up, especially if I was wearing this sweater. This dude is not good. You want to compete in the Champions League, I'm assuming, right? This is different than what we just saw with Eintracht Frankfurt, because you are at the top of the league, but now you're here and you're like, okay, now I'm winning Serbia. How the heck do I make money? The money is in the Champions League. The money's in the prestige that the Champions League allows you to have, and the money is also in selling this guy. So you've solved your problem without actually noticing it. You are not going to get where you want to go with Georgi Ivanovic leading the line and scoring 25 goals a season. Now, if you did that every season, you'd win a bunch of Serbian championships. Maybe not a bunch, because it looks like you're being out goal differenced by Partizan and Red Star. I don't think that this is a cemented thing. You've never actually won the league before, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But to transition this into money long term, you need to get into the Champions League group stage. To get into the Champions League group stage, you might need to sell one of these guys to fund it. There's also the other way to do this. If you want to hang on to these players, like Petrovic wants to move to a bigger club. This dude is a really good goalkeeper. He's a Serbian national team player. You had him under contract for more than a year and there's nobody interested in him now. Obviously, it could have been different when you were making this deal, but come on, you can hang on to him and make a promise. Ask him. You promising to sell the player outright without even a financial amount. The worst case scenario you should ever run into is saying, I'll sell you for this amount of money, because it's unlikely that a team will even reach it. Okay. Goalkeepers don't fetch a ton of money, though. This is just a mistake in man management. You let yourself down here. You let yourself down. Wants to leave to get better playing time? Fine, screw this guy. Asmir Kajevic. Nobody likes him. The game to play is this guy going to get you where you want to go? If he's not going to get you where you want to go, and Georgi Ivanovic is not going to get you where you want to go, even though he's a very good player at this level, then selling him should not be off the table. If you can get good value, and I'm assuming because this dude's in blistering form, at a 7.2 in the league on 17 goals in 22 matches, you're going to get an inflated value for him. Let's just check. Let's say, oh, you're offering out for 1.5. Let's just offer him out. 1.7, which means, let's be honest, if you're negotiating this, you can probably bag over $2 million for the guy, which would add about 35, no, 40%, not quite 40% to your overall budget. You get 60% of that transfer revenue like in retention, and so that's nice. But at this phase, I think what you'd want to do with that is to shift it over to your payroll and loan a couple of players in from the biggest clubs in the world. Because what the advantage you're going to have is the league you're in is a pretty high level of competition. So those clubs are going to want to loan their players to you, whether you're taking the best players from Germany, the best players from Russia, not the best players, but players from the best teams in those countries. You can shift the money that you would make and you get into your transfer budget. You can shift it to the payroll budget from a sale like that. Obviously, it frees up the wage budget as well. But from what I saw, that dude was making peanuts anyways. Paying $48,000 a year. This guy is getting ripped off. Jovanovic doesn't want to leave. So you don't actually have a problem there, but if they do get unsettled and you're not going to be able to keep them, then selling them is not the worst thing in the world because you can turn that into something else. We talked about earlier in this video the type of value you can get people from, say, Western South America. You can totally scout the whole world. So what you should be doing is looking for those hot prospects while investing in your payroll budget so that you can loan in a couple of players that can get you to the Champions League group stage. Once you get in there, in case you didn't know, the paycheck is $17 million about. And then when you add in the TV, you make over like $20 million in the balance for making the Champions League group stage, even if you get blasted every one of those games. That would completely change the outlook of your club and should be the only goal. I mean, winning the league, obviously, you haven't done that yet. So do that, then group stage all the way. Full investment in that. Anybody that can't help you get there, cut them out of your life. Yeah, I have considered being a therapist. Next, Parfait is playing as Barcelona and has 4 issues. Love this. I have a plethora of senior midfielders that have little future on my team, like Pjanic and Busquets. I don't want to keep for much longer, but sometimes they turn up and give a performance. If they're let go, I can give Nico and Pedri some more playing time. I'm concerned a bit the right side Messi's mental attributes can still work in the right wing, while at the same time Trincao wanted to have more playing time. I did a bit of a blunder by loaning out Gavi too late, and he lost trust on me. Any chance to make him trust me again, or I have to let him go? Trust is very hard to get back. You're probably going to have to let him go, but you just maximize value at that point. That is one of the few things in the dynamics department that I've just never figured out a way to turn around. When a player loses trust in you, usually it's just a ton of winning and playing the player all the time. But if you don't have time to turn it around, like you're within 2 years of their contract ending, I would just sell for value immediately. Coutinho's contract's expiring. Is a good move to let him go if I want to win the UCL ASAP. Yeah, his wage is way too high. There's an end of contract target named Pablo Banega. I like his attributes, but signing him means I'll overload my striker position. So I go for him and loan Matias Arezzo out until Griezmann's out of action. You are thinking like a genius. If Arezzo is not fully... Right, Matias Arezzo, this is some solid big club management. Like, Antoine Griezmann is still offering you a lot for another year or two. You don't want to get rid of him early. You really honestly can't because his wage is like fatter than your mama. Just kidding. Love you, Mom. So you can't do anything with him anyways. You're going to play him out to the end of that contract, but you don't want Arezzo to stagnate. But if you sign Arezzo, you're not going to be able to give time to both of them. You're thinking like a genius. You're right on here. So you take Matias Arezzo, who everybody just absolutely loves because he's a brilliant young striker who develops in a rounded way. He doesn't become as good as Griezmann in his prime, but he's a good player. And so a loan move would be good to like a mid-level Premier League side, or you get the type of... He's going to play at Southampton, and he's going to be great. He's going to have a lot of fun, and then you bring him back in a year, and you can sign your other guy too. Sometimes I'm just here to confirm that what you're thinking is right. Yes, that's wonderful man management. Then you just let Griezmann go, and you're on your way. As for the old midfielders, Barcelona is a pretty interesting challenge on Football Manager because you are saddled with those types of players, these old midfielders, and you are saddled with Lionel Messi, who's wage you've somehow reduced. Look, Messi at this point is only feasible to play as an enganche, in my opinion. Old superstar playmakers like this can fit in as an enganche because their technicals and mentals are so freaking good, but his physical deterioration, obviously, I think prevents him from playing on the wing, except for late game situations when you're throwing the kitchen sink at somebody. On someone like Philippe Coutinho, I just think that there's so much value tied up in a $27 million wage for a player that I don't think is worth $27 million. And think about how much you're paying Arezzo, right? You have $4 million for Arezzo. Then you have 27 million for Coutinho. How many Arezos, how many hot young prospects can you fit into that amount of wage budget? Or how much transfer budget can you get by reducing that bit on your wage bill? Now, he's a better player than people give him credit for in Football Manager, in real life, but it's not worth it at this point. He's 30 years old, and you already said your midfield's crowded. Big club management is so interesting because I just don't get to do it a lot. But the strategies are also just fascinating. A player like Busquets, this is the dumbest contract I've ever seen. If you gave him this contract, I so help me, I will put you in the stockades myself. 2027, he's going to be 38 years old. When this ends, he's going to be 38 years old. Please tell me this is one of those where you were out having a night drinking, you came back, you sat down to play Football Manager, and you were like, oh, Busquets, I love you, man. I'm going to give you 40 years. He's not Tom Brady, okay? He's not. If you don't know who that is, Google it. Go Bucks, by the way. Your issue here is that nobody's going to take this off your hands because the value in this contract, if you're going 4 years from this point is when his contract ends, is $83 million. Nobody's taking that from you, and the mutual termination will absolutely kneecap you. So you're going to be saddled with this for a while. Contract negotiations are a big deal. There's no takesy-backsies on these, which means Pjanic is toast. I would look for some sort of transfer move, maybe a free transfer, just a couple million to another big club that would want him, because you're going to have Busquets to fill the role of the old dude who can pass and can't move on the defensive side. Messi fills the role of old dude who can pass and can't move on the offensive side. Probably guys that you start bringing off the bench to try and change matches with their vision and their wisdom. Pjanic doesn't fit into that anymore. Coutinho and Pjanic need to go. And now to our last save that we are saving. It's Axt of FC Rouen. Just got promoted to League 2. Just aiming to survive after back-to-back promotions. Any advice for that sort of thing? So you just got back-to-back promotions with FC Rouen. You've made your way up to Ligue 2. Very excited that you're here. And you're asking how to survive. For which I have one answer. I'm gonna need you to loan. Oh, loan. I'm gonna need you to loan. Please use loans. Need you to loan. I'm gonna need you to loan. Just gotta use loans. Just use loans, baby. When in doubt, loans. We got free ones. We got other ones. Just keep loaning. I'll see you on the stream. I'll see you in another video. Just loans. Give them loans. What? Oh, yeah. All right. See you guys soon.